Hi, I'm Deepika Grover with Grover Mortgage Group.
And I'm Natalie Van Cardo with the Nat Nate Real Estate Team.
Welcome to our new podcast,
Real Estate of Mind,
where we discuss real estate, life, and everything in between.
We're excited for you to follow us and join in on our journey.
Christine, thank you for coming on our podcast.
Welcome.
Hello.
Thank you, ladies. I'm excited.
We are so excited to chat with you just in time for the spring market. So everyone, we are very excited to have Christine DaCosta from Christine DaCosta Interior. And you've been an interior designer for over 15 years.
Yes.
Which is amazing.
Many iterations of it.
And you've seen all the ups and all the downs.
All the ups, all the downs, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, the most recent being downs recently with the economy.
Yeah, it's been really rough for the industry overall. And I mean, you ladies must feel it as well, right? So consumers are just, homeowners are just being really hesitant to do anything with their home.
So what do you specialize in? Like, what do you do for your clients?
Residential design and mostly renovations. And then, of course, interior design within the home.
So you can help them plan a complete like overhaul of a room or a complete home overhaul from start to finish.
Both.
Which is amazing.
Really? Okay, so I actually
gets
didn't
me
know that. So
excited.
say somebody like wants to like buy a house and then gut it. You
Yes.
can help with that.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah, got
so
the
you have
contractors to work with me, got the team, the A team as I like to call it, and really just from start to finish. And that's the way you should be doing it, looking at the whole house or room holistically and then go from there.
So you have like a lot of construction knowledge then.
I mean, I don't, let's just say that is not my background per se, but that's why I've got my A team behind me to then say, well, Christine, I don't know if we can actually do that per se, right? So that is what I say when we have our trade meeting. That's what's so important, to then have your valuable tradespeople with you to say yay, nay, you know, we can do it. Let's see what's behind the walls, right? That's really what's going to affect a renovation.
That's my favorite part, behind the walls. I'm like, just open it up. Let's see.
Yeah, you're really into construction too.
I'm obsessed. Yeah, it's fun. So what are you seeing right now? Like, what's the main trend that people are incorporating into their homes?
Well, I think people are reading and seeing that color is huge.
Really?
We're really getting away from the gray zone.
From the neutral zone?
Please, people, no more gray.
It's so true.
No, it's so true. My entire
know.
house is like grays and browns, and I'm like, I don't know if I like this anymore.
Well, I mean, and if you are going to incorporate a gray, we're going toward more of the warmer colors.
Okay.
2025 is all about getting away from the cool colors and really getting into the warm. So the beiges, the greiges, if you need to bring in, you know, if you want to stay in that neutral zone. But we're finding that people are now finally accepting color and bringing it into their homes. And I'm not saying every room has to be, as I like to say, a tapestry quilt. Right. Not every room has to be a different color, but you can add that personality, say that powder room, maybe your office or study, your bedroom, a guest room, that kind of stuff.
Okay,
I
interesting.
agree with it. We just did our powder room, and it's like a dark green. And I'm obsessed
and it's like
with
different from the rest of your house.
Well, yeah, we tried to tie it in with everything, but the way that we did, I just wanted it really dark and kind of moody-ish. So, yeah.
And that's what's really in for 2025 are those dark, moody colors.
Okay.
So we're seeing a lot of plums, purples. We're seeing a lot of the burgundies.
Okay.
Red is so hot right now. Cherry red, burgundy again.
Where would
in
you
some
put a
of that
cherry
brown.
red? In a bathroom?
In a bathroom, in an office, a kitchen island.
That scares me. Cherry red, like that's such
Maybe
like a
not
bold.
cherry
Yeah,
red.
because like that's
you
such a
have
bold
to really
color.
have that bold personality and love it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you have to really love it because it's not something you're going to change like a wall
Exactly.
color every month or every year or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's not a cushion. You're not going to change your toss cushion.
Yeah.
That you change seasonally, but you're not going to change your island color. So you got to really love it because it's an investment.
So true. Okay, what would you suggest for someone who was gonna repaint their entire house? Like, what color would you suggest?
Right now, I would suggest a very warm neutral, like an off-white, like a beigey with some warm undertones. And most homes, unless you're starting from scratch and you're starting a new build, have that warm undertone flooring.
it's true.
So you really need to pay attention to the undertones, because I walk into a lot of homes,
Yeah.
as both of you do. And I see the wall color, and it's just jarring because they didn't look at the undertones of their tile in their entrance, their hardwood. And it's just jarring because it's this cool color because they wanted to jump in on the gray bandwagon. Meanwhile, they should have chosen a warm gray, a greige per se. And that's kind of where things are leaning into. It's funny because I always say, we always go back to what we had in the past, and really we're seeing a 90s comeback in fashion and interior
Yeah.
design.
So true,
So
yeah.
we're seeing those colors just with a fresh 2025 take, I guess, is how I'd say it.
It's interesting that you say that, because I've walked into many houses and sometimes you're like, something's off. And like, I know paint can be changed, but I didn't really correlate that the wall color and the floor color aren't matching when I'm going through the home. I'm like, the design's kind of off, but like now you say
And that's probably what you're seeing.
that's exactly what it is. So yeah, it was a good point.
Okay, the reason I asked is because we're painting our house. So because like it's a pre-built construction house, and like we haven't painted it since we moved in.
Right.
So it's just like whatever the builder white that they provided. And now we're trying to pick a color, but like none of us can decide on a color. But our hardwood is like that dark brown and our tiles are like white marble. So like, I guess cooler undertones?
No,
No?
no.
You think warm?
Yeah. But not warm with like a yellow undertone.
Yeah.
Like, don't go there.
Okay.
Because what does the marble have in it?
Like, it's like this marble, but like less black than this.
Like a Calcutta.
Yeah, yeah.
But so it's a cool grayish vein.
Yeah.
Veining.
Yeah.
So you might want to go with a white, if you are going in that direction, like a simply white. Simply white goes either way.
Okay.
It's really what it's up against.
Okay.
Dove white is one of my favorite whites, but it does have more of a warmer undertone, which may not clash a little bit with if it's got that gray veining, really cool gray. If it's got a warm gray, then it's a little bit different.
Okay.
So that's what's so important, that you need to, and this, paint the walls with squares, like 2x2 squares of different paint colors, and just see what it looks like in your room
Okay.
throughout the day.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the day's huge because the different light that comes in.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow, paint's a big deal, eh? I don't think I ever thought about it like that at all.
Yeah, it is. I find like that our powder room, we had a hard time because the cabinetry is that dark green. And then I wanted something, I either wanted to drench it, like all the same color.
That
My husband didn't let me do that. Oh, I wanted to do it so
color
bad.
drenching is so,
I know.
like that's the thing to do.
Interesting.
Everything.
Yeah, I wanted to do it, but so to find the right color that didn't compete, but also gave it that look was like we went through so many colors. We ended up having to make our own. It's horrible.
Really?
We literally mixed every color that we chose and then created our own color that worked. Yeah, don't suggest it.
Yeah, you're like,
that's what
don't do that,
happened.
because then you're never going to be able to get that
Yeah.
color back now.
Well, now we have a whole can of it, but yeah, it was not
It's
ideal.
a concoction. I mean, as long as they have it on record, it's a concoction. It's a recipe that you can make again. But that's
Yeah.
good that you actually made your own color. That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
but
it's so
it's
interesting.
very, very important. I find color.
You would do that, though.
It was a mess. The poor guy painted the room so many times. But
Okay. What are some of the biggest mistakes you see people when designing their homes?
Boy.
You're like,
okay,
oh, I
there's
have
no
stories
judgment.
for days.
I mean, for like just in decorating, when I walk in, okay, so we've talked about paint color. Also, I mean, you walk in and you see the rug is the size of, I call it like a little island. It's sitting in the middle of the room,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
And like area rugs are so important. They really anchor a room. They anchor the furnishings. Your furniture should be on it.
Oh, okay.
Another thing is just wrong space planning. When you do a furniture placement, you're kind of dictating traffic, like where people walk in the room, where you're directing where people go when they come and visit you. And I hate when people like lean their furniture right up against the wall.
Okay.
Furniture shouldn't be a
Oh,
wallflower. You don't have
interesting.
to put all your furniture against the wall. And so I just find that, and then you've just got. It just doesn't make the room feel cozy. Things are too far away.
Like, are you meaning like a couch shouldn't be right against the wall? You should pull it in a little bit more? Okay, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay to have furniture floating in a room. It actually gives the room, it makes a room feel bigger actually, because now you can walk
Interesting.
around. a
How
room.
much away from the wall should it be?
Well,
Is there like a
again,
rule of
it all-
thumb?
Not really.
I guess it depends on the
really,
yeah.
that's where proper space planning and furniture placement comes into play. So if you are with a new build or you're moving into a new home, it really pays to have a floor plan,
Yes.
to know where everything goes, and have furniture to scale to the room.
That's true. Like you don't want furniture that's like so big for the room, right?
That's another thing that we see often, especially like walking into bedrooms, that their furniture is just so big. And I have to tell my clients, delete everything that you're seeing in your mind right now. Like take it all away because it's oversized. Like I have to point out,
Yeah.
this is an oversized bed.
Yeah,
This
and
is
everything
Yeah.
is matchy-matchy,
Yes.
right? Like you don't need to buy the matching set
Interesting.
of everything. You shouldn't.
Oh my goodness.
Because then it feels like you're walking into a catalog
Leon's.
or something. And half of that stuff is like horrific.
yeah,
anyway.
you're so right.
So, right? You want to add some personality. So,
Okay,
whether
so
you
you're-
have an upholstered bed and then you've got, your nightstands in one look, in one wood tone or whatever, and then you don't need to have everything matchy-matchy.
Okay, wait. So let's go over this because this is really interesting. Because my room is literally like my dressers match my nightstand, match my bed frame. Like it's all very cohesive. But like I think that was a trend like 6 years ago, and I just haven't changed it.
Yeah.
So this is interesting now. So okay, so say my nightstands are like a dark brown. Like my dresser doesn't need to be a dark brown. Like it can be a different color. Like that's fine.
Yeah. And if you have a big enough closet, I wouldn't even have a dresser.
That's the new trend that I'm seeing. Yeah, people are not putting
Dressers.
in there.
Yeah, I don't have enough space. I have way too many clothes. Okay.
And that's fine. It's like maybe where your bed, because the bed is kind of the focal point when you walk in, maybe your bed is different. Maybe your bed is upholstered just to add texture. So it's not so like everything is in the same
Yeah.
tone. That really makes a room feel cozy as well when you add different textures, different layers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, I mean, it's a bigger investment, but you sleep in it every night. So
No,
you might as
yeah.
well
100%.
go all out when it comes to your bed. Who cares about the nightstand? As long as it has storage and is functional for how you use it. And everyone uses a nightstand differently, right? So for me, the bed's the most important thing. And a good mattress.
And yeah, no, my mattress is good, but I need to get a new bed frame. Wow, this is really inspiring me.
Good.
Pictures.
Like picture frames?
Just in general, like hanging photos. So I'm really into like oversized art right now.
Yes.
That's my thing. But in terms of like where do you hang it? How far from the floor do you hang it? I just do it by eye. I'm like, oh, okay, that looks good. But there's a lot of places you walk into, I'm like, that's too high. Like you want to bring it down.
Oh, yeah. That is another thing that I notice when I walk in. Like, you have to look up to see the art. The art is too high. You have to think of, if you go to a gallery, you see a lot of the artwork is hung very low. So rule of thumb is from the center of the piece, 60 inches to the floor.
Okay.
But the center of the artwork, not the bottom, the center of the artwork.
So that's 5 feet. Okay.
From the center.
From the center. Okay. That's really
Very
good to
cool.
know.
Okay.
Yeah. Rule of thumb. I mean, again, you play with it, but your artwork should be hung low. And if you're hanging artwork behind a sofa or behind on the wall of a foyer table or something, it should be roughly 4 to 6 inches above that piece.
I'm on point. I am on.
Like the bottom of the frame should be 4 to 6
Bottom
inches.
of
You
the
want it
frame.
Okay.
close. Yeah.
Yes. And
Okay.
artwork, I mean, I don't know if anyone, the listeners can see the artwork behind you, but like they're roughly 4 inches apart, no more than that.
Okay.
Like, especially if you're hanging 3 in a row.
Makes sense.
So I would, like, for me, those should have been just a tad lower.
Yeah, I agree.
But,
And I do.
and large-scaled artwork just makes a huge impact, and it fills the walls. I walk in and I see no personality, and that's, for me, a big thing, because your home is your sanctuary.
So
It is
true.
where you go home and you want to walk in, you want to go, oh, I'm so happy to be home. And you want your home to be a reflection of who you are. And I see so many homes devoid of personality, and it's just, it makes me sad.
Yeah. Your home is probably fabulous. Like, I'm imagining your house, and it's probably
You know
so
what?
like nice.
It's not. No. You know why? Because you're too busy doing other people's
houses.
homes.
That's so
And then by the
true.
time you get home, you're just so exhausted. And you just say, ah. And then I can't make up my mind because you see so many things.
And you like
Yeah.
so
And
many
it's like,
different things.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, what do I do? What do I do? So I can be so decisive for
Yeah.
a client, but when it comes to myself, it's like, oh my God, what do I want to do?
That's
I think
so
it's like that for
funny.
everything, though.
Yeah.
You know, like you're always like last to do your own thing, but you want to help everyone else do their thing.
That's so true.
So true. Yeah. That's hilarious.
So just back to like larger pieces of art, because I find a lot of people I'm obsessed. A lot of people are scared of it, but what I find, it really, one, warms up the space, and then it makes it feel larger. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the other thing. People are afraid that if they have a tiny, like a small room, that you need to add small furniture. And that's not the case. Now, don't get me going on those big leather sofas with the 5-inch arm. I'm not saying do that in a small room. Again, it's all about scale. But you don't have to add dainty things. You can have that humongous piece of art. It's just gonna, it makes your eye travel upwards. And when you've got a small space, you want to take up as much vertical space because then it draws the eye up and it just makes the room feel taller and bigger. So that's why we always say drapery should, your hardware should go all the way up to the ceiling. So again, it makes the room look taller, especially if you only got like 8-foot ceilings on the main level, then your rod should be right to the ceiling.
I've been noticing that. Yeah.
Smart. What are your favorite stores that you buy artwork from? Because I get this question a lot. People don't know where to buy artwork from.
I mean, I guess it really depends on budget, and it depends on the look you're going for. Because there are so many stores that have beautiful abstract, like the ones behind you. Or, you know, if you want to go, like I go with my suppliers. Like, so I try to go where you can't find regular artwork, but on a budget, you could go to, say, an Urban Barn. They've always got some fun things. If your budget's a bit higher, you can go to an LT downtown Toronto. You know, you can go online and look.
Would you suggest like Wayfair or those types of stores?
I mean,
Are you a fan?
Not really.
Interesting. Okay.
Not really. I don't mind buying 1 or 2 things, but I try to avoid it if I can.
Okay. So you are able to source all of these things from your suppliers, like
Yes.
when somebody hires you.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
And that is, for me, one of the benefits of hiring a designer is that you're not going to get a room that looks like everybody else's room that always
Yeah.
shops at the local store,
Right.
like the local home sense.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great place to stop and buy some things, but if you want your home to be individualized, it is definitely mixing high and low, but I don't think you need to have what everybody else has in their house. And even if you love what someone did, you can still individualize it and not do what they do. And so, like, for example, if I'm at a consultation and a client says to me, oh, you know, I want my room to look like this. And, they, you know, it's a photo from Pinterest or something. And it's like, okay, this is great. It gives me an idea of where you want to go, but now let me take that and create a design for you. That's individual to you because you're going to answer my design questionnaire for me to understand your style. You may like certain things in that room, but actually they really don't make sense for your lifestyle, et cetera. So you really got to get to know that person.
That's really
How
good.
does someone get to know what their style is?
I think a lot of it is, so for example, for a consultation, they have to answer a design questionnaire, and it's a pretty robust design questionnaire. And if they can't answer what style they are, whether, they're traditional, modern, contemporary, a bit of both, and a lot of people are a bit of modern and traditional, transitional is what we call it. But a lot of people like adding antiques, vintage things, or they're boho chic. So I tell them, yes, collect a bunch of pictures. I also ask them, what are some of your favorite hotels? What are some of the, hotel lobbies that you have enjoyed in your travels? That kind of gives me an idea of their style.
Very cool.
That's really cool, yeah.
And just, again, it's all pictures because you start to see a pattern. If they've given you like 5 different photos of different rooms, you start to see a pattern, and that's where you can kind of pick up on their style, even with color as well. And I always look at what people wear because that really dictates the colors that they like.
Oh, that's true.
Wow, I didn't even think about that.
And I do ask to go in their closet.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
That
never
honestly
put
makes
that
sense
together.
because, like, if you see someone that's really like eclectic, their style personally is usually eclectic, and then they like their home is eclectic,
Yeah.
which makes a lot of sense.
Oh my God.
Yeah, your home is a reflection of your personality. So if you love green, your home should have green in it. If green looks amazing on you, then you would probably look amazing sitting on a green velvet sofa, right?
So true.
That's what I always
need
say.
more pink
Yeah.
in my house.
Yeah. I say go for that pink kitchen.
My mom would kill me.
It's like a nice powdered
What's going
pink.
on here?
What do you suggest? Like, do people need to make their home cohesive, or can they go like different vibes in different rooms?
I think they can go different vibes, but there has to be a common thread because you can't be all that in your house. Like you can't be different things. Like that's just not, we're not different people. We can act differently depending on the situation, but to the core, you still are who you are. So you still have a certain style that should be reflected in every room. This is where wallpaper or a color, whether you color drench one specific room from ceiling to the floors, all painted in that same color, adding that texture, that pattern. You can do that in certain rooms, but I don't know about doing it everywhere because I think after a while it would drive you crazy.
Yeah, if I was like going into every room in my house and it was like a different vibe, like that would be so overstimulating to me. Like I would get
Yeah, it would
overwhelmed for
compete.
sure.
I don't know if anybody watches Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but the new, I don't even know her name. I think her name is Bose, but her house is crazy. Like just is very much her personality. But for me, I'm like, every room is very different and it's just very loud and wild.
Yeah, that's like
I'm
so
like,
overwhelming.
I would get sick of it very
And
fast.
that's
Totally.
her personality. So
Yeah.
she loves it and thrives in it. So that's great.
Yeah.
But I would think the majority of people
Yeah.
couldn't handle it.
Mhm.
And when people, again, go into their home and if they have kids and all that, there's always going to be chaos, right? So for me, I just like to have things in their place because it just grounds you and it just makes you more calm.
Yeah, totally. How did you get into interior designing? I don't think I've ever asked you this before.
Well, I did not go to school. I took a bunch of courses, but I have a marketing fashion background.
Okay, makes sense.
As well. So I do have a fashion background, and
That definitely makes sense. Yeah.
that kind of brought me into the interior industry. And I just found that every time I would go into someone's home, I'd want to move things around.
That's hilarious.
Well, that's a clear sign.
Yeah. And I was like, oh man, if I had this house, I would have done this. So then when I moved into my new home in Oakville, where I was like able to do everything that I wanted to within a, reasonable limit.
Yeah.
That's when I said, you know what? I think I could do this for a living. So I just jumped right into it.
And you haven't looked back since.
And I have not looked back.
No, it really matches like your personality because like you're so fashionable. So it makes sense that you're in interior designing.
Well, fashion, like interior design and fashion intersect so closely. Like everything that we see for fall of 2025, colors and clothing, you're going to see them in 2026 in interiors.
Wow, I didn't notice that.
Wow.
Yep.
Very smart.
So you probably follow fashion very closely then as well to get inspiration.
I do.
You're all about
Vogue's
the New
my
York
Bible.
fashion. Okay. New York Fashion Week, Paris Fashion Week. You'll find Christine
I
there.
would love to go.
Yeah. You're like, brands, call me. No, that's so cool.
So we're like coming up to spring. What would you suggest for people that are like looking to sell or just transition their house from winter to springtime? What are some tips that you can give them?
Well, first of all, if you're going to sell, you need to start thinking about neutralizing your home.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this isn't rocket science for people. They know you need to declutter your home. And I mean, spring cleaning, that's what they call it. It's decluttering because in the winter you're hibernating and you're just like sticking everything in a corner or whatever. Spring, you're going to start opening up your windows. You want all that natural light to come in. So important to have your windows clean, natural light, declutter for sure, spring cleaning, bring in fresh flowers. Gotta love the fresh flowers. And if you have to, paint your home. It's like the easiest, most cost-efficient way to update a home.
Yeah.
People don't realize how like it is very cost effective and the transformation that it gives a space, like it makes it feel brand new. And a lot of people don't realize that. Like you can tell when the paint has been like 20 years old. Like this needs a little refresher.
Yeah,
but
you
yeah, it
can
makes
see
a
on
big
the
difference.
baseboards, you can tell, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it's like even just freshening up the baseboards, et cetera. Just
Baseboards make a huge difference. We painted our baseboards and I'm like, oh my God, it looks like a brand new house just by doing something so little.
yeah, and then maybe consider color drenching one room. So it's painting from the baseboards, all the same color, all the way to the ceiling, just to have that drama.
You're like, I wasn't allowed to do it.
I wasn't. I was almost so close.
But other easy ways to change out, just to update your home, hardware.
Okay.
Hardware is, to me, like jewelry of the kitchen. And so if you want to update your kitchen, get rid of those builder basic knobs and all that stuff. Like change it up.
Even on like doors and stuff, right? Like not just in the kitchen, like even
And doors.
Yeah.
Yes.
That makes a big difference.
All the hardware on the doors really just upscales.
It elevates it.
It
Yeah.
elevates it for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
What type of hardware is in right now? Like where would people go to find out what's in?
I think you've got to look at magazines. You have to look at kitchens and bathrooms just to see the type of hardware.
Okay.
It's okay to mix your metals. So you don't have to
Okay.
have everything in the same finish. So for example, in a kitchen, maybe you've got a chrome beautiful faucet. Doesn't mean you can't have brass hardware in your kitchen. If you have a different colored island, it doesn't mean that island can't have a different finish than what's on the perimeter of your kitchen.
Oh, I like that idea. So like it
Oh.
could be the same style, but just different finish?
Yeah.
I love that. Very
So
nice.
again, it's all about that common thread, having that continuity. So the style is the same, but maybe your island is in a burgundy. I am just dying to do a burgundy kitchen.
No, you're
I
obsessed
truly-
with burgundy.
I am obsessed. And it's such a rich color. Like you have to love it, but it's such a rich color. And then adding beautiful brass hardware to that island, and then maybe the perimeter of the kitchen is in a beautiful beigey off-white color. And then again, you could have brass there, or maybe you decide you want to do in like a brushed black, like a dark black. Although we are finding that black hardware is kind of trending
Dwindling?
out.
Oh no. I still
Dwindling
like a
out.
good like black handle, like door handle.
Yes, they're
Yeah.
classic against
Yeah.
a nice white door. It is classic, but everything black is kind of trending out.
Yeah. No, black was in for a while, I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah, that whole black and white look.
Yeah.
I think now is where you need to add. That's where I say add some mixed metals.
Color,
Add a brass mirror. Add something or chrome, a nice polished chrome. That's classic. Never goes out of style. The brushed chrome, that's kind of Stay away from that. Nice polished chrome is classic. You can never go wrong with that.
Okay. Wow.
I'm getting so many ideas.
This is like, I really like this because it's very like small things that you can do that add so much value. Like you're not out here being like, change your entire kitchen or get rid of your entire like family room. It's like, no, you're like change hardware. Like that's very cost effective and like easy to do, right?
It
It
is.
makes such a big difference.
It is. And I mean, if you want to go a little bit more, you could change out your backsplash.
Yes, that makes a huge difference.
Because you see a lot of these backsplashes from the early 2000s and they're just, it's got to go, honey.
What
It's just gotta
backsplash is
go.
trending right now?
Well, right now we're finding that just adding the same either quartz or marble or porcelain countertop.
And having it go all the
then
way up.
having it go
Is
all
that
the
still
way up.
in? Because I know that was in like a few years ago, like during the pandemic, but it's still in.
It's still in.
Okay.
Just that seamless look. It's beautiful.
Okay.
And it's very calming.
It is actually.
It is, yeah. I do like the houses that have that. It is really nice, yeah.
But if you are going to do a backsplash, like this is where I think then if your kitchen is very neutral, this is where I think you can have a bit of boldness and daring because again, backsplash besides the hardware is also the jewelry of the kitchen. Because when people walk in, they look and they see what's right there. So that's where you can add a personality for sure.
And what about appliances in a kitchen? Do you think that adds a lot of, what am I trying to say? Like, do you think that makes a difference in the way a kitchen looks? Like what appliances you choose? Or not as much?
I mean, appliances are important, of course. Again, it all depends on what, like, is the kitchen for yourself? Is it going to be a rental unit? That really depends on the investment that you're going to make on those appliances.
Yeah, fair.
But there are so many, you don't have to go stainless steel. I mean, you can do, whites are coming back in,
Yeah.
all white appliances.
Really?
Yeah, and now you can choose so many different finishes for the handle, the fridge handle, your range, everything. So I mean, you can really individualize what they're doing with appliances. So appliances are really fun right now, but you have to have a good budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting because when you take clients through a house, the only place that I find they touch the most is the kitchen. They will go up and they'll touch the countertop. They will look in the cabinets. Like they want to feel around in that specific space where they don't really do that anywhere else. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we spend 80% of our time in the kitchen. So that is the first place anyone's going to go. So if you're going to update your home to sell, kitchen, bathroom, then maybe the bedroom, the principal bedroom, do something with it. But those are the three main rooms and then the family room as well. You need that to look inviting so that, especially since most family rooms and kitchens, a lot of the homes are now open. So you want to be able to see an inviting family room where if you're in the kitchen, you could see your kids playing, whatever, right? So those are the rooms that people look at. So those are the rooms that you want to update and add a little bit of personality so that when they walk in, they go, oh yeah, I could see myself living here. This kitchen is fabulous. And yeah, functionality, that is so important. Like that's the first question we ask is how do you use your kitchen? Are you a chef or do you just want a Instagram worthy kitchen to take pictures in it, but you're actually never going to use it? Like that really is going to dictate where we go with appliances, the finishes.
What's your take on when to hire an expert versus when you can kind of do it yourself?
I can appreciate a good DIY.
Yeah.
Trust me, okay? But that is for like painting your home, maybe updating, for example, your dresser.
Yeah.
So that it has some personality. Maybe paint it out a different color so that it looks different from so it's not a matchy set.
That's smart.
Still the same look in frame, but it's a different color. Yeah, so those kind of things, maybe even, although I do not recommend you doing your own wallpaper unless you've done it before. Like for me, those are like hire a professional.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wallpaper, you can tell the seam. It's a very big deal.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's a
you
very
can
big
tell when
deal.
it's done professionally or when somebody else
Yeah.
does it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is. So in those cases. But when it comes to doing a major renovation, you really should call in a designer, just at least to get a proper space plan, furniture plan, floor plan, because you can't just do that yourself. Because you're going to make a lot of costly mistakes. And at least having a designer, you're going to save on those costly mistakes.
Yeah, and to add to that, I find a lot of people don't realize the slippery slope of a renovation because you do one space, but it transitions into something else. So they really need to, I guess, chat with someone who can fully plan it out for them and say, okay, start here. And then even if it's not right away, if it's like a year or two later, you know where to go next because
That's right.
they just kind of start in one room and then you kind of are redoing things that you don't need to necessarily redo.
That, that is the worst thing is
Yeah.
like that homeowners don't look at things holistically. Like that, to me, that's the biggest mistake. You don't look at things holistically, the big picture. And so, yeah, you're going to do things piecemeal and then it's not going to make sense. So it's like, okay, I understand your budget can only stretch so far, but at least let's get the plan in place so that if phase 2 is in a year, you know what you need to do so that it does all make sense.
Yeah. Because like if you have to open up a wall, then you don't realize, okay, the flooring you just picked, you need to have extra because you're gonna need to fill in those gaps. Like certain things like that where people don't necessarily think of that they're redoing things that they, yeah.
And then ending up spending more money
Counterintuitive.
than if they had just done it correctly in the first place, right?
Exactly.
Well, and the other thing is like, for example, if someone wants to do a basement renovation and then they say, well, in a year's time, then I'm going to do my kitchen. Well, then we need to make sure that we leave access to all the stuff that we're going to need when we're doing the kitchen so that we're not like having to open up a wall because of where, the pipes or this and that.
Yeah.
So we can think about that in the future. Well, there's a future kitchen renovation going to happen. So we need to be able to ensure that we have access to this and this and
Yeah,
that.
that's really smart.
So you kind of need to really understand holistically where you're going and what you want to do. And then do it in phases that make sense.
So I was
Yeah,
just
that's the other
gonna ask, like, would you suggest certain rooms to be done in a certain sequence for it to make the most sense? Like, where would you start?
Yeah, like, I mean, for me, if you're going to do a house in stages, there are certain things that for me you should invest in to do it all the way through. So flooring, for example, because you have no idea what's going to happen in 1 year. That flooring could get discontinued. The dye lots are different. So there could be it looks slightly different. You don't want that. So it's like, well, I'm going to be doing upstairs, but not yet. Well, let's at least invest flooring from main floor to the second floor. And if you're thinking about the basement, maybe we go all the way down as well. Costs a little bit more, but at least it's all unified. And then, so your main level. And then it's like thinking, well, some people really like tile in the front. Other people kind of want that whole nice one unified look. So we're finding a lot of people are just now doing hardwood.
Just hardwood all the way through.
And into their kitchen as well. And nowadays, I mean, the hardwood that's out there is perfectly fine to have in a kitchen, right? Maybe not for a basement, depending on the elevation of the house. So that's where you can go into, your luxury vinyl flooring, which has come a long, long way.
Yeah, it has. I just loved your face all the time.
Like when I'm like learning. Yeah, like when I'm like processing. I'm learning a lot today. It's like something, this is like something I've always overlooked. I've never been like huge into design, but I think I like am like getting a passion for it now. Like the more I talk about it.
Yeah, I never cared for it until I had my own space, and then you're like, oh, like what can I do? And you kind of make it your own.
I'm also not somebody who like, you know, like how some people can just like go into something with a vision. Like I'm not like that. Like I need to be like kind of told what to do. Like I don't think if I like bought a house and I was like told to flip it, like I don't think I would be able to be like, oh, let's break this wall down. Oh, let's do this. Like I would need someone like you to like help me, right? And I think it's like good to like recognize that. I think some people can do it all themselves, but for someone like me, like I would need guidance for sure.
And that's where like there are some people that are great DIYers and they kind of just say, you know what, Christine, I only need you for like 2 hours. I only need you for your design, excuse me, design consultation. Give me direction and then I'll go from there.
Yeah.
And I've had clients like that and that's great. Good luck. Wish you all the best.
Yeah.
But most, as soon as I give them the ideas, recommendations of what I would do, then they're like, oh my God, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
And that's where they go, can I hire you to do the project?
Yeah.
And those are the clients that I love because then it's like full service. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. What's your favorite part about the job?
Just the creativity. Just knowing that I changed someone's life. That this design, I may not see these people again, but it lives on. Like they're going into that kitchen, they're going into their bedroom, bathroom, whatever, basement, and that I had a part of that.
Yeah.
So that when they're home and relaxing, I helped create that feeling for them. So like that gives me a great satisfaction that design is going to live on in one way or another. Like maybe in 20 years it won't, and that's fine because I'd probably recommend that in 20 years
you change it up.
That design, that I did. But I for me, it's also the creativity, getting to know a client so well that when you do the design presentation and you see their eyes light up, you know you had a home run. You know you got them. That you know them so well that what you presented is exactly, if they knew what they were doing, that's what they would have chosen.
And you're fixing like a really big problem for them because like a lot of people, they can't cultivate the feeling that they want to evoke in their space. And like having you come in and just do that and making it carefree for them. And then every time, like you're saying, they're using the space, it gives them that different emotion, that different level of connection with their home and even their family. It's huge. And a lot of people don't really recognize how big of an impact their space is around them. Yeah.
And I find that a lot of people, and okay, I get it. You're a parent, you have children, you don't want to do a lot because you think the children are going to ruin the sofa, blah, blah, blah. But you become so devoid of any style. It's to the point where you become embarrassed to have people to your house.
My God, yeah.
Your home is your castle. You should not be embarrassed to have people over and to entertain. And I've met people who have told me that in consultations. And I go, well, let's fix that because you should be entertaining people. And kids grow. Hello, mom and dad. Kids grow up. Kids listen. You have to teach them. Don't jump on the furniture. Eat your snack over here or eat it at the coffee table, not on the sofa. Like kids need to be told. They'll learn.
She sounds like me right now in my house. Don't go in there with that. No food in there.
No, but your house is so nice and you have small children. And you have I really like your house. I think it is so nice, like design. Like I'm saying, like you didn't like let your kids like hold you back from like designing your house nicely.
No, like certain spaces that we have are still like just for the children. And once they get to a certain age, I can take that stuff out and do our own thing there. But I want to be able to enjoy my space too.
Exactly.
So yeah. They don't eat on the couch. Sorry.
No, and they shouldn't. Like
But the other thing is, if they did, there are so many different durable fabrics that are out there that just a quick little wipe and any stain, red
And
wine.
sprays too. There's sprays that you can spray on couches as well, right?
Yes, but it's the fabric. So again, if you're working with a designer, you can literally get a custom sofa made that is kid-friendly, pet-friendly, so that you don't have to have that fear that your kids could drop some food on it, and it's literally going to wipe away, no problem. With
Oh,
a
that's
little
amazing.
bit of water, a soft cloth, a little bit of soap, and we always give instructions on anything. But when I have a client that has kids, I would never recommend a dainty fabric, a hardy fabric over 2,000 double rubs. That is how many times you could sit on that fabric without it wearing down. So we go with a high rub count and then durability in the fabric. And there are so many beautiful fabrics out there that are stain resistant. And that's
Wow, good to
so
know.
key
Yeah,
now.
I've avoided a cloth couch or a fabric couch because of kids and pets. So I'm glad there's hope.
There
we can
is
do
so
it.
much hope. So your room can have personality, and you can still have your young kids, and you don't have to worry about potential stains because these fabrics are stain resistant, pet resistant, and those are the fabrics that I find myself gravitating towards.
That's huge, eh?
Yeah.
It's huge, and they're beautiful, and they feel beautiful.
So let's talk about budget and money, because I think a lot of people who may be listening to this or just in general wanting to get into interior designing, maybe they're thinking that it's really expensive, or, oh, I can just do it myself. I don't want to hire a professional for this. So in your line of work, what kind of budgets do you work with? Is there a minimum project cost that you would work with?
There is a minimum because it takes a lot of time. So it's understanding what they're looking for. So again, it all comes down to they're looking for steak on a McDonald's budget. That's not going to happen. So sometimes we have to walk them off the ledge kind of thing and say, it's not really going to work. So this is what I would recommend. So I've got a starter package that is a 6-hour designer for a day package. So if their budget isn't over the top, but they want that designer look per se, then it's well, hire me for 6 hours and I'll put your kitchen together in the sense of I'll put so that everything makes sense. Your flooring to your countertop, your backsplash, your hardware, the color of the cabinets, so that it's a cohesive look, but then away you go. And you go work with your kitchen company, etc. But at least you have that designer look for 6 hours. And I'm recommending things so that they don't regret it. And then it's oh my God, I have to repaint this whole kitchen because the color is all wrong. I had so many people come to me and go I chose, gray. Again, the whole gray thing. I chose a gray for my house. And then now I look in the light and I see a purple undertone.
Oh my God.
And it's well, of course, right? Again, because they went and they looked at a tiny little sample and they weren't looking at it different times of the day, looking at it with a 2x2 square on the wall. So, but if you can afford a full service from start to finish, and that's literally starting from meeting with them, the design questionnaire, the design presentation, putting together elevations, renderings for them, to literally where I would place the vase on their countertop or their, styling it to the very end. So that is full service, start to finish. Those budgets, depending on what it is, it can go 50 to 100 grand. We've had kitchens that have been close to 200. Really,
Does that include the cabinetry and everything?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna-
Oh, that includes everything? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
no, that includes
Which, to be
everything.
honest, a kitchen nowadays, my husband, that's what he does. So they're pretty well up there. So that's pretty much half of the budget or a little bit more, depending, which makes sense.
And at what would a good budget be for a powder room, for example?
Again, it depends on the finishes. Are
Yeah.
you just going with a basic vanity? You're going, that you're just going to buy at one of the big box stores, or do you want to go custom? And then it's what kind of countertop you're adding, wallpaper, your plumbing fixtures, depending on the look. you know, you think, oh, a powder room, it's a small room, but you can spend over $10,000 on a powder room
I know.
because it's
Yeah.
where your guests go.
Yeah.
So for me, I always say, let's make it extra special because when they're sitting on the throne, they might as well be going ooh and ah and looking around and going like, I never want to leave, and then taking selfies in the room because it's so fabulous.
No, that's actually so true.
Yeah, you have to just think about being neutralizing your
Yeah,
home.
that makes sense.
It is actually one of the hardest things to portray to a seller because that's like the point of where they realize their home and them are splitting up. And
That's so true.
it is.
Oh
It's
my
very
God.
hard for like, we love what you've done, but you need to kind of scale everything back. So I find that's the most difficult time. Whereas when I bring in the stager, or like even if you were to come in at that point and be like, hey, this is what we can do to help, having another professional that isn't related to the sale helps buffer that.
So is that actually, that's a good point. Is that something you do? Like when somebody's getting ready to sell their house, you actually go into their house and be like, hey, this is what we should do. So it's like the opposite, I guess.
I'm not a stager. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have an inventory of furniture. So, but I have given advice to clients who are thinking of moving, like of what to do. Like I don't go and do it for them, but I definitely recommend what they should be doing. And I mean, we all know the decluttering, depersonalization, neutralizing the home, and maybe doing some of those small updates, such as change out the hardware. It totally then elevates the home very quickly, especially the number one room in the house that everyone's going into, the kitchen,
The kitchen.
right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it just comes down to just easy fixes, new cushions, a new throw, add a little bit of pattern, fresh towels. Right? Fresh towels
Honestly,
in your,
true.
in your
It's
powder
the best
room.
feeling.
Yeah.
Like when you buy new towels, you're like, oh, yes.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
like fluffy towels.
Yeah.
Plush towels.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those are things where it's like, yeah, go to HomeSense and buy those pretty plush towels. Like that's a good reason to go to HomeSense for that reason.
Okay, so recap. Towels, artwork, hardware,
Paint.
and paint.
Paint. I wanted to
Those
say
are the main
paint.
takeaways.
It's huge.
No,
Yeah.
those are really, really good
And I
takeaways.
cannot forget, so important, lighting.
Yes, I was going to ask you. I'm glad you brought it up.
Lighting is
Yes.
so important. And lighting is, again, people can walk in, look at the light and go, oh my God, like that lighting is so you. Because lighting is like art. So you should invest in your lighting. I'm not saying in every single room, but whatever is hanging over your island, over your dining room table, make sure that it has some personality. But change out those boob lights, please. That's the quickest, easiest.
The what lights?
The boob lights.
What are those?
They're like, it's like the round, and they have
And
a
then
little
that
nip.
nipple.
Oh my God. That's iconic.
That's your builder basic lighting, and change those out. That, to me, that communicates that you had no care. That if you walk into a home and you still have boob lights in your bedroom, then you have absolutely no care. Like you don't love your home then. Like you don't love your home.
That's hilarious.
She's making me, so I've changed my kids' rooms, and I've left mine. So now I got to go change my light in my room.
You better
I haven't
change
done,
it, lady.
I haven't done it yet. Yeah, our room is the last. The kids are all done, and then our room is the
You're
last
like, yeah,
one.
whatever.
Yeah.
So lighting is so important. Adding task lighting, and I think you don't have to spend a ton of money on lighting as
lighting,
well.
yeah.
Like that's something like if you're not going to invest in lighting for a specific room, this is where you can go to the big box stores and buy a decent light fixture because you know you're going to be selling the home anyway in 6 months to a year.
What do you suggest in the color of the light bulb? Because like I get really
I was
caught
just
up
going to
on
ask that.
It makes a
Like
difference
the Kelvins,
to me.
yeah.
It,
Like
it
what?
does, but I hate the yellow.
You're more of a blue light.
I don't like the blue light either.
Like in between?
yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Is it like the
I think
clear
it's like
white?
2,700 Kelvin.
Thank you. Yeah. 'Cause there's-
have
seriously,
it.
there
I'm
are
done.
so many different variations
It
of
goes from
color
3,000
lighting.
is the brightest to I think like 2,000. I think like 2,700 is like perfect.
I think 25 to 2,700
Okay.
Yeah.
is the best.
Yeah.
3,000, again, it all depends on what you're using that room for.
3,000 is like you're at like a hospital. Like it's so bright.
Yeah,
It's like really
and you
white.
don't want that.
Yeah.
There's-
Especially if your room is white.
yeah.
There's a home in our area. Every time I drive in, like at night, you can see it's that blue light everywhere.
Yeah, no,
I'm
that's
like, oh my
bad.
God, is that not giving you a headache?
It's
Like,
so bad.
Yeah.
It actually like makes me feel like sad. I've noticed like 2700 Kelvin is like the perfect amount where it's like really cozy, really like homey, like the
Without
perfect
creating, like, without that yellow,
without that. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
overcast. Like I don't
100%.
like that. 'Cause
100%.
To me, it just makes a room feel a bit dingier.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And for like lighting, do you think that like the lighting has to be the same in like a hallway? Like, you know, when like a hallway is like long, you have like multiple lights. Like, does the fixtures have to be the same, or can they be like mix and match?
Well, down a hallway, I would use the same.
The same, okay. What about like over an island and then over like a dining table?
No,
No, it can be different. Okay,
it can be different.
okay.
But again, there should be one common element, whether it is the finish of the metal, the light bulb. There should always be that common thread going through it.
Okay.
But every room should have its own personality, and you can definitely add personality to a room through lighting.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
cool.
Mood lighting, task lighting, just so important to have as much light as possible.
Yeah.
Under cabinet lighting, always recommend that in a kitchen.
Oh,
like
yeah.
to me, that's a you must do.
Oh my God. Yeah, we got that, and it's like a game changer.
Yeah.
It is.
It's huge. Yeah. It really helps.
Trim. Not just like trim, but I guess like we were talking about wainscoting.
Yes.
What's your
wainscoting.
take on wall trim?
I'm not crazy about wainscoting per se. It's had its
Okay.
day. It's a bit traditional for me. How you update it is you paint it all the same color all the way up the wall.
The same color as your wall.
Yes.
Okay.
Everything is the same.
Okay.
To me, that updates it right away, gives it more of a modern edge, all the same color, versus doing, you know, the inside molding that's inside the wainscoting per se, which, you know, is halfway up the wall or a third up the wall, and then painting that white as an example, and then it's a different, the rest of the wainscot is a different color. No, if you want to update it, give it a more modern edge, I would just paint it all the same color, and that at least updates it. What we were talking about earlier is that for me, I love wall paneling from ceiling to floor.
Yes. I think that's really in right now. Yeah.
Yeah. And
It's
again,
very
paint it
regal.
all the same color.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I love, to me, it's adding a bit of that Parisian touch to a room without going over the top, because it doesn't have to be traditional. It can be very, very modern in a room. But for me, it just warms up a room.
And I think it like elongates it as well,
It
especially if
does.
you're going from like top to bottom.
Yeah.
Makes it longer as well.
And it
Yeah.
really warms up a room.
My last question: crown molding, in or out?
Oh, we should have done an in or out section.
Well, yeah, we
Listen, crown molding is a classic architectural detail that I would never say don't do, but you don't have to do it in every single room either. If your style is very contemporary, no, get rid of it, because your color should just go all the way to the ceiling. But most homeowners are a mix of, you know, that transitional style, nice crown molding. And again, we're not painting crown molding and the ceiling and the wall a different white. We're actually painting it all the same color, just in a slightly different sheen.
Okay.
And maybe going to your painter and saying, okay, I love this particular color, but for the ceiling, I want it to be 80% of the color.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you can do that.
You can. So you can go to your local paint store and say, I want this to be 80% of this color, so that your ceiling is the same color as your wall, but it's not as deep as the color that is on your wall.
Wow, that's a
Only
huge hack.
80%. And it makes a huge difference, but it makes it look so chic.
Oh, I didn't even know.
My God,
that.
that's like huge information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very good.
80%. I've done that in client bedrooms where
And that's for ceilings.
for ceilings and even for walls. So we've done custom wardrobe cabinetry in their bedroom. So we painted a certain color, and then I say on the wall, I want 80% of that color. So it all flows, but there's that definition. So you see just a slight definition. So the cabinetry is slightly darker, has a little bit more richness to it than the wall, but it's all the same color. But it's only at 80% of the color.
Wow.
That's really interesting. That's really good to know.
Was that a nugget, you guys?
Yeah. Like, I'm going to go tell people you should do it 80%. That's going to be my one thing I'm going to tell people.
Nathan's
now.
going to be like, what the heck?
Yeah. Like, Christine told me. So we're doing it.
Waffle ceilings in or out?
Again, it all depends on the style of the house, the style of you. Like, do you like, again, a waffle ceiling is an architectural detail that for me will never go out of style. Where I would do it differently is paint it all out.
Okay.
Like, I have a waffle ceiling in my family room, and I paint it the same color as my walls. So just to add some difference to it, where the molding is still in the white that matches the trim. If I was to do it today, I would do it all the same color. So again, that whole color drenching. But you can do so many different things with a waffle ceiling
Okay.
to modernize it versus making it so traditional where it's your typical
Yeah.
painted white and it's a different color than what's on your walls.
Okay.
Or, as we say, it's the fifth wall, wallpaper it. Wallpaper your ceiling.
Oh, I didn't even think about wallpaper in the
then-
ceiling.
Yeah, wallpaper the ceiling and then use whatever the wallpaper color or pattern in it, use that as a jumping off point. Jumping off point, so important because wall color should always be chosen last and not first. And that's where a lot of people make mistakes. They choose their wall color first, and then it's like, oh, I love this color. Now, oh my God, I am stuck. Now I got to choose certain things to match the wall color. Where if you buy a beautiful rug, drapery, a piece of art, I always use that as the jumping off point for then the color of the walls.
Smart.
Same with wallpaper. So I always say paint the ceiling the same color as the wallpaper, or choose like a really beautiful color in the wallpaper, or just wallpaper it all. Like in my powder room, I have wallpaper on the ceiling that matches the wallpaper on the four walls.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the fifth wall. You might as well. You're in bed sleeping, looking up.
It reminds me of those tiles that they used to put in the ceiling, the metallic tiles.
Yeah, and those you can paint out, and they look fabulous as well.
Wow. Okay. Ceilings are being neglected.
Ceilings are being
Bring back
neglected.
ceilings
They do
2025.
not need to be in cloud white. Okay? No, cloud
And
white is
popcorn
out.
ceilings out.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm so
That
She's
is
like,
one
don't
of the
even
things
talk to me about
makes
that.
me cringe.
Yeah.
It's like, let's scrape that ceiling.
I hate that the builders still do it.
I know. It's so weird.
Yeah.
We don't have it in my house, I don't
And
think.
that is an
Thank
upgrade
God.
to remove it.
To remove it, yeah.
It's an upgrade. So ours,
Put it on.
But
that's
it's like,
the
isn't it
thing.
more work to put it on though?
no,
Like,
it's because they don't need to make everything seamless because they're just spraying it. Yeah.
no, it's disgusting.
I like the California. Like just smush it. And then it looks a lot better.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Don't leave it like that. But yeah.
Okay. Well, this was very, very informative.
Thank you so much.
I know I definitely got inspired. You are
Good.
very good at what you do.
That is why I'm here.
Totally.
I'm here to inspire you ladies and to inspire all the homeowners out there.
Yeah.
That your home should be your castle. And you
Yeah.
should be inspired when you walk in, and you should just feel so happy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, where can people find you?
They can find me at ChristineDaCostaInteriors.com,
Amazing.
and they can find me on Instagram. Same thing, Christine DaCosta Interiors, all one word.
Okay.
We'll add
amazing.
it to the show notes. Thank you guys. And thank you for coming.
Thank you for
Thank
coming. This was
you.
lovely.
Thanks
Thanks for tuning in.
Had so
Bye,
much
guys.
fun. Thanks.